Okay, so look, Jimmy, I got to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I just watched 4 hours of sleep-inducing. So I'm not trying to be here past. Ideally, I want to keep the stream 30 minutes. I think we can cover all of that WrestleMania in 30 minutes. The most I'm doing is 45 minutes. If we go longer than 45 minutes, I'm cutting you off and I'm saying goodnight if you're in the middle of talking and I'm going
Yeah.
to bed. It's 1
Yeah.
in the morning for me.
That's brutal. That's brutal.
I am I'm just look, I just have to go off on a tangent right now. You and I, Elite Heat, you and I, what we do here is different than any other wrestling media, not any other wrestling media, but just about every other wrestling media that you listen to, especially the ones that are like partnered with WWE and are in AEW's pocket, like the obvious ones like Meltzer and like, Sean Ross Sapp, those guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're always going to say something good no matter what happens. Even if they're saying something bad about one company, they're going to praise another. You and I, we say things, we keep it raw, for lack of a better phrase. Like we say things like, I just don't think a lot of people are saying, especially what I'm saying about The Rock, people that like companies that are partnered with WWE and have like brand deals with them are not going on a podcast and saying, hey, this match sucks. This match sucked. The match was boring. Cody shouldn't have lost. Like the people aren't going to say that. They're going to find a way to flip it. Like, oh, The Rock's doing great work. The Rock's doing this. And this kind of narrative right now where WWE and AEW have so many media outlets in their pocket, it's kind of tampering with the fans' minds. Like it's almost like we're being like fed this propaganda machine. I go, everything WWE is doing is great. Everything AEW is doing is great. That WrestleMania 40 night one was not great. Okay, there were some good moments, right? Like they were probably like, okay, Awesome Truth winning. That was a fun moment. Lil Wayne coming out, Jey Uso, that was fun. The Rock's entrance, incredible. Some parts of the tag team main event was pretty good. Mm-hmm. But bro, that match did not need to be 55 minutes long. Are you kidding me? What's going on, guys? What's up, Elias? What's up, Brian?
Yeah. Look, how do you want to start this? Because I know you said, look, we're not trying to be here an hour and a half. It's really late for a lot of you in the States and a lot of you in the Northern Hemisphere, particularly. For the people in the UK, you're literally just waking up for the most part. It's like breakfast time, pal. For me, it's still 3 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon. So for me, it's fine. But look, Kevin, I just want to cut. Can we just talk about the main event, please? This has been the thing for 3 months. We've had probably stronger opinions on most, as you allude to, about this. You especially. You've been going in on this, particularly The Rock's involvement. I've got to say this. The match going 46 minutes, the second longest WrestleMania match ever behind the Iron Man match between Bret and Shawn. Kevin, I said in the preview, this should be 12 to 15 minutes, and you can get all of this done in that time. This doesn't need to be 46 minutes. Now, in fairness, I thought the match picked up, particularly between about 30 and 40 minutes was the highlight of the match. If you just did the little stare down at the start, 10 to 15 minutes of what we got between 30 and 40 minutes in the real match, and then, look, I don't like the ending. I know what they're setting up. Cody's sitting there crying. You've got The Rock and Roman holding the People's Championship and then the Undisputed title. During the show, they're doing it like 3rd time's the charm for Cody Powell. Night 2 is going to get the win. I hated him getting pinned. I know Brian predicted this 2 months ago and loved it. Seth Rollins being made to look like an absolute fool clown for the whole build, rinsed for 3 months, and he doesn't even get pinned. He wasn't even involved in the finish. The finish was Roman spamming finishes, Rock spamming finishes, doing like a cut the throat symbol, pointing at Cody's mum, and then pinning him with the People's Elbow and a rock bottom. So that's interesting. I will say, though, as I said, parts of that match, really good. The rock bottom stuff through the table, the spear through the barricade that followed it, the near fall bit where the Rock got speared by Roman Reigns. That was like, oh my God, wow. That was really awesome. And then the near fall that followed that. Outside of that, this being 46 minutes is just disgusting. This should have been 15 to 20. And no one should be able to tell you otherwise. That this did not need to be 46 minutes for a 54-year-old Rock match. Did The Rock perform good? Yes. He didn't tear his groin. He didn't get injured. Good. But 46 minutes, what did you think, pal? You watched it live at like 11 p.m. What did you think?
So much to unpack there. First thing, I'll say this, and we can let this, we don't have to really react. Don't react to this. We'll just let it sit. And we can talk about this more tomorrow. We'll see how this ages between now and tomorrow. I think Cody's win, if he does win, I think it's watered down at this point. If and when he does win the title tomorrow, I think the luster's gone, the aura's gone, in my opinion. But we'll see how that ages. So watching the match, I'm sitting there watching it live, and I'm watching this at a family party. So I'm watching WrestleMania around a bunch of casuals who most people in the room watch very little to, if any, wrestling, especially modern wrestling. So I'm being asked a million questions. I'm like my family's like, hey, who is this guy with the blue thing on his arm talking about Seth Rollins? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that outfit. Like, I have not, like, I'm talking to people who don't watch wrestling. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm sorry. I know you guys love Seth Rollins, but he looks like an idiot. He doesn't fit to the casual people. He doesn't fit in the picture. You got Rock, Roman, and Cody, who all look like stars. And Cody is...
I've knocked something on the floor, pal. Okay, going.
Huh? And Cody is the son of a famous wrestler. And then Rock and Roman, like, everybody knows who they are. Yeah. And then Seth Rollins, like, these casuals are like, who is this guy? Whatever. So then I'm watching this. I'm like, okay, entrances, whatever. Can we get to the match? Like, can we get to it? And I'm thinking the same thing, like what we were talking about yesterday. Like, oh, this will be a 15, 20-minute match. I'm looking at my watch. I'm like, okay, it's 10:42. This match will probably be over in 5 minutes. It didn't end until like 20 minutes after that point. It ended like 11:10 my time, 11:10 p.m. Good.
I'd argue with what they did, because obviously they did the stare down, then they did a bit of tag team, then they did the stuff through the crowd where they were showing Rock punching Rollins for like literally 15 minutes through the audience, and then they got back to start the match. That whole first 20 minutes, you could have just cut that.
Yeah.
Nothing about that, but that was needed. None of it. I was sitting there and I messaged you this. I'm like, this is the main event of effing WrestleMania. What are we doing here? And it picked up. It picked up, as people in the chat is telling me, as everyone was, it picked up. Absolutely. 100%.
Here's my problem with it. Mm-hmm. We did this whole storyline where Rock, not even the whole storyline, the whole angle where Rock is beating up Cody, making him bleed, putting his blood on the Mama Rose belt. Mm-hmm. And then we get to the match and they're doing a 10-minute stare down. Like, are you kidding me, bro? This whole thing felt overthought, overproduced. Too many cooks in the kitchen. This screamed too many cooks in the kitchen. Triple H, Brian Gewitz, Nick Khan, Ari Emanuel, all these other people, like The Rock, like just too many people trying to make one thing happen. As I said yesterday in the preview, this feels like something we're going to look back on in 5 years and we're just going to be like, that was a mess, train wreck. I couldn't explain to anyone in the room that I was watching this show with why The Rock was wrestling. I had no answer. Like, they're like, why is The Rock here? I don't know. I can't tell you. He's just here because he wants to wrestle again. And
but go Kevin, through his prime. But Kevin, I'm going to play the advocate of, I'm not sure people listening to this, but what about his entrance? It was cool. Aren't you appreciative of how cool his entrance was? The fact that we get to see The Rock?
Yeah, like, that's cool. Like, okay, that's awesome. And then they're like, okay, who's this Roman Reigns guy? Like, why do we care about him? Well, he's the big champion. He's the big star. He's been champion for 4 years. Okay. And what? Like, why is this match happening? And then the other thing too, I'm watching this. I'm like, why do I want to see Roman versus Cody tomorrow if I'm getting it right now? Like, why? Why do I want to come back and watch the same thing tomorrow? The whole thing felt, as I said, overthought. And I just want to talk about the whole show in general. The crowd, man, that crowd was disappointing. Oh man, for a WrestleMania crowd, like they were sitting on their hands the whole time. I can't fathom why the Usos match did not open the show. Why would you not open the show with Lil Wayne and Jey Uso coming out? Like, what? I don't understand. Like, maybe Lil Wayne was like late or something to the show, whatever. But that should have been the opener. The whole flow of the show, like starting that with Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch, not a good way to start it, in my opinion. It just, and the bill is due now for these long, dragged out reigns that Triple H has been booking. The bill is due now for that. We saw it with Gunther. Like Sami Zayn won, good moment. Okay. But do I care that Gunther lost the title? Not really. Like he just walked around holding the championship for like 600 days. And now with Rhea Ripley, she's been champion for what, a year now? And the Becky Lynch match had no aura to it. She spent a year barely being on PLEs. And when she was, it was insignificant matches. And then there wasn't really much of a build for this match with her and Becky. So I don't know. Just overall, the show felt auraless. It didn't flow right. It didn't feel like a WrestleMania.
Can I just go off on the crowd for a minute?
Yeah.
You touched on it. So you touched on a lot of little things there. Obviously, we're not going to be here for an hour and a half. But what we are going to do is especially target those things you've just mentioned. That crowd in Philly. I'm sure out of the 80,000 people or 72,000, whatever the exact number was, there was a number of bays who would have been really into it and people who were really going off and loving it. But as a whole audience, oh God, this is WrestleMania, Kevin. There is an issue now, and we need to address it for what it is. American crowds, there's a problem. Either the crowds are ungrateful for wrestling because you've had it pretty much in your backyard every month, every week, every Raw, every SmackDown for 50, 60, 70 years, and especially these WWE big shows forever. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's, I don't know, because Kevin, when I was at the Elimination Chamber 5 weeks ago, a card that was main evented by Rhea Ripley against Nia Jax. Nia Jax main evented the show I went to, and the crowd was buzzing and hot the whole way through outside of 5 minutes in the men's chamber where Lashley was hitting moves and no one cared. That crowd was hot the whole way. We were going off. Like, I think the future of these big shows, WrestleMania included now, I'd want to say, is international. I don't think America deserves these big shows until they can prove otherwise with better crowds. Because the Royal Rumble, when there was Punk and Cody in the final, the crowd was not into it. Barely. It didn't come off that way. And so you're at the Rumble. You can test.
I was there, yeah.
SummerSlam last year, the crowd, as well as Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler's match, that too. But the crowd was responsible for the show feeling flat the whole last 3 hours. So something needs to be done from the crowd point of view. The crowd was really into Gunther and Sami Zayn. Objectively, just calling it for what it was. The crowd was really into that match. They were split. Let's go, Sami. Let's go, Gunther. And they were really cheering, freaking out, booing. Like, if the crowd was like that in that match for the whole show, great. But they have rubbish like Jimmy versus Jey Uso that was being fed to them with Jimmy Uso spamming slap super kicks and Jey Uso spamming slap super kicks. And then Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso both looking at the audience for 5 minutes. Kevin, that Usos match was a disaster. Whoever booked that match needs to lose their booking power and their producing power. What were you thinking watching that match at 8:35 p.m.? You're an hour and 20 minutes into this show, and you've got Jimmy Uso hitting 19 slap kicks, looking at the audience being like, no yeet! What the hell was that? Why? Who thought that was a good idea? If that was what you booked 8 months in advance, if Paul Levesque wrote on a piece of paper, as he did in July 2023, WrestleMania 40, Jimmy versus Jey Uso, and that was what you gave us. Kevin, what did you think?
Well, I was watching that match, and I was just waiting for it to get good. Like, I remember thinking, you and I at some point last year were like, oh, this is, whatever they do, Jimmy versus Jey, that match is going to be great. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know. The bloodline was just so hot. Everything they could touch was turning into gold at that point. So we were like, oh, the Usos will figure it out. They never really figured it out. It didn't click, you know? And yeah, whoever booked that, I don't know. Like, this was their biggest moment, both of their biggest moments in their career. And it just was, yeah, super kick after super kick. I was watching that and I was like, what is this? And that kind of goes with the whole show. Like, I was watching the whole show. Like, what am I watching right now? I want to back it up. I want to talk about the opening match for a moment. Okay. Rhea and Becky. I got to say that match was not as good as Rhea versus Charlotte from last year. I didn't like, not to say that match was just good, like a technically good wrestling match, you know? That's the thing with Charlotte, bro. Charlotte is so damn good in the ring. but she just doesn't click in the other ways in terms of like charisma and like crowd reaction and whatnot. But she's damn good in the ring, bro. And Becky, I don't know. Becky didn't bring the same thing out of Rhea.
In fairness, and people will mention this was mentioned on commentary. Becky had what was it, glandular fever or 102-degree fever or something was.
Oh right, yeah, that's right.
Was medically wrong with Becky Lynch this week. So
yeah,
the fact that
I forgot about that. Yeah,
the fact that as I agree, and Elias is in the chat at me about this because I said this match would be better than the Charlotte match, which this match wasn't better than the Charlotte match last year. It should have been, but obviously Becky's health, that's mainly the reason why. They did what they could. And I'm biased because it's Rhea Ripley. I like Rhea Ripley. I liked her entrance. I thought Motionless in White did a good job with singing into the ring. I thought like the aesthetic of how both women looked was great with like the paint and all that business. Match itself was, from a star rating point of view, if we're using the Meltzer scale, pal, what are you giving? A 3.5? Like you thought it was
like 3.5. Yeah, like 3.5. Yeah.
Yeah, and if we're saying the Charlotte match last year was like 4.25, like 4, let's say.
Yeah.
We didn't love it as much as most. Some people gave it 5, which I can't believe, but that match was just better objectively. No issues there. I like what they did, all things considered. This was one of like the higher points on the show I found. I liked how they opened this show. I thought having Triple H come out and be like, this is our era, WrestleMania. Are you ready? And the crowd was like, yeah, like cool. I always like Triple H coming out. He's a rock star. I experienced it live. Triple H is a rock star. Rhea Becky, yeah, it shouldn't have opened. I don't know why it opened. You were bang on about the placement and all this business at the show. This should have been a better booked Jimmy versus Jey Uso match. Jey Uso coming out after Triple H did his big hype up. Jey Uso pumping up the crowd. Yee, yee, yee. It should have been that. Get that done. Book it better. 10 minutes. Usos are out of there. That's how this should have opened. But
yeah, it was. Yeah, that seemed too easy at that point. I understand though, like from a standpoint of like, okay, you want to have 2 big stars opening the show. You know, Rhea Ripley is like one of the biggest stars. If you're not going to have her main event, have her open. It's a better placement, I guess. But I don't know. Like, I'd rather just have the crowd starting off hot, and I think the Usos would have brought that. So yeah,
too bad, as we said though, too bad the Usos match. And I just want to bury that one more time before we properly move on. That was such a letdown. Like I expected so much more from that. I didn't expect Bret versus Owen. I didn't expect 5 stars or like a top 20 WrestleMania match ever. I just expected something where I wouldn't be watching it 4 minutes in going, get them off. Like, just get to the next match. Like, what am I watching? Yeah. I don't want to be saying that at a WrestleMania. Like, I don't want to be seeing that at WrestleMania going, oh, this isn't good. Just get them out. Like, that's what I felt watching Jimmy versus Jey Uso. I don't know what happened. Whoever produced that, what were you thinking? Anyway, let's move.
Yeah. So then there's the 6-pack ladder match. I thought that was fun. I thought that was a bright spot of the entire night. Yeah, that was pretty good, I would say. I mean, it was a good match. It was fun. It was a cluster. It was all over the place. Your boys, A-Town Down Under, won the SmackDown titles. Austin Theory being a champion now, whatever. Like, okay, that's cool. Good for them. Austin Theory's back, pal. Like, I don't know what to say.
On that with the tag teams, and I will put my hand up when we did the preview, and a lot of you listened to that. The average duration was like 30 minutes for listening time on the preview on YouTube, which is pretty good for YouTube. People listen to me say, out of all these 6 teams, put a line through A-Town Down Under. Put a line through Theory and Waller. They're not winning the titles. No chance in hell. I didn't believe it. I didn't think they're actually going to proceed with this because they were teasing beef and friction like ever since the Elimination Chamber. That these two aren't on the same page. Now they're the champions, I guess. Awesome Truth are the Raw champions. You've got that now happening, pal. So it's like you're waking up in the 7th grade again, pal. Awesome Truth are here, pal. That being said, once again, the Awesome Truth act's a fine act. R-Truth, as you have to say, no one has a negative thing to say about R-Truth. He's just an entertainer. He's really good at what he does. He makes the second hour of Raw entertaining. You know, he just does his thing. You know, so... Look, my takeaway watching this, fun match. This was just a fun WrestleMania match. Was it TLC 2? No. Was it Shane McMahon, Snoop Dogg, and The Miz from last year? No. It was just a good... I had to bring that up. It was just a good tag team ladder match. Lots of chaos. Bodies everywhere. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the match.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was great. The spot with like R-Truth like begging for the tag from the Miz and getting the hot tag pal and doing Cena's moves, that was hilarious. Like, just R-Truth is so funny. Like, that was great.
Yeah. Also, one more thing. Yeah, Elias, you bang on. Brother for brother matches aren't for everyone. Like, obviously, Brett and Owen, they rolled around with each other for 25 years in the Hart Dungeon with Stu Hart screaming at them. That's why their match was so good at WrestleMania 10 MSG. Jimmy and Jey Uso, I don't know what the hell's going on. Anyway, I'm going to leave Jimmy and Jey Uso.
Yes.
Yes. Do you want to just move on to the next match?
Yeah, well, let me finish what I was saying. Just like, so R-Truth doing the Cena stuff was absolutely hilarious. And yeah, I love to see Miz win at WrestleMania, pal. Love that. Yeah, Miz is champion again. I'm back. It's 5th grade, pal. So yeah,
now Miz is that regional manager at Google, pal. He's 65. He does whatever the boss wants. He never misses a day at work. You've got to respect him because he shows up to do his job.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so now there's the 6-man tag. Oh no, what was it? Just the regular old tag team match.
Yeah.
Rey and Andrade versus Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio. I thought the match was fun. I thought this was another high spot, bright spot of the show. I liked it. Like we said, the preview, maybe we could have seen better stuff for Dominic to do. I thought he would be on a different trajectory, but he's settling in nicely as like an upper mid card guy, and yeah, this was fun. Right, watching Rey take the belt off and start whipping his son, whipping his son on live TV, abusing his son. Gotta love that. I mean, the match was fun. What do you want to add to this?
I just want to add a general thing, not so much on this match, but this was a recurring thing through the night. I'm sure chat has strong opinions on this. 1, the Prime logo in the middle of the ring. 2, all the Prime at ringside, Prime bottles everywhere. 3, all the advertising on the LED boards around ringside. This is obviously the direction. TKO, what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it more like, I guess, UFC sort of, and more like sports. I get that. So anyone who thinks, oh, Jimmy doesn't understand why, let me tell him. I get why they're doing it. But at a WrestleMania, you're seeing those like ads go around ringside and you've got the big Prime, ugly looking Prime bowl in the middle of the ring. Something that was a distraction. Like in this match especially, I'm watching Rey Mysterio. You've got, Santos, Dom. They're doing their thing. It was, once again, it wasn't bad. Like this was a fine, good match. This isn't an offensive match. It wasn't a bad match. I was moderately entertained, like you're not going to fall asleep watching it unless you're watching it at like 1 a.m., right? But all I'm looking at is the advertising. Oh, the Prime bottles. Oh, look, there's Prime bottles over there. There's a Prime bottle there. There's Prime logos on the corner pads. There's advertising all around ringside. Kevin, what did you think? You watch more combat sports than me, so you're probably a better place to talk about this. What are your thoughts now? WWE is just UFC in that regard. In the advertising, the bottles, the on-mat, corners, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I get from that standpoint, I get it. Like, cool, okay, you want to have a Prime bottle in the ring, on the corner, whatever. But man, do we need like an LED board for every single match? There was one for Mountain Dew, one for Wheatley Vodka, one for Wingstop. Like, do we need that? Do we need the LED board being lit up with a different colored brand every single match? Like, it was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot.
I get the center ring Prime bottle. I was just like, I understand. It's 2024. Prime is the biggest marketed beverage and thing in the world from a food or drink point of view. I understand why. I don't, but it was like chat saying it was an abomination. Like I'm watching in the main, we'll get to the main event in a minute. Cody, Rock, all these big time stars, and there's just this big fat Prime bottle just sitting in front of my eyes. I'm like, okay, cool. Anyway, Rey's that match, I enjoyed it. Good stuff.
Oh, and Ishan brought this up, and I forgot to mention this when we were talking about Becky and Rhea. Becky's entrance. My God, bro! Like the big advertisement for her book, and her reading an excerpt from her book. Like, are you kidding me? Like, what the hell is this?
I didn't want to talk about that. So I'm annoyed you brought that up. I was just watching. Okay, yeah, Rhea's come out screaming, and then you got Becky, and there's like that quote, and she's like emotional about the book, and there's the I don't know.
Yeah, the company's becoming so corporate now. It is really distracting. It does really take away from the enjoyment of the show. It did for me, at least. All the shameless plugging, like, oh my God, okay, I get it. You want us to buy Wheatley vodka. Most of the people watching this WrestleMania can't even drink. Wrestling fans can't even drink. They're like 15. Why are we advertising vodka on a wrestling show? I was like, okay, whatever. I
Yeah,
digress.
like
I
most
digress.
of Roman Reigns' diehard fans are 14-year-old Indian children. They can't even drink this stuff. What are you
Yeah,
doing, Nick Khan? I don't know.
yeah, I digress. Okay,
Regardless,
so Bianca, Jay Cargill, Naomi versus Damage Control. This was good. I thought this was fun too. Like matches 2, 3, and 4, or 2, 3, and 5, and were really good. Were fun. Not really good, but they were just fun. Good fun matches. And this one was no different. Like it was good. It was a good showcase for the three women. They made Jade. I mean, Jade looked like a star. This was a star making performance for Jade. They were like, look, Jade Cargill's our next female star. Here she is. Let's hide all her weaknesses, and that's exactly what they did, and it was perfect for that.
my big takeaway from this, and especially from SmackDown last night and tonight, I mean, I'm so impressed by Jade. Like, this is like a DC superhero. This is like someone who is just an absolute one of one. Every time she's on, I'm captivated at the screen. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I'm just in amazement of the sheer just physicality and presence. Like, she's just an absolute star. Like, the way they're presenting her is fantastic. It's amazing that AEW let this slip through the cracks. I don't know how. Well, we do know how, but yeah. Now she's here, being like the big star in this, this WrestleMania match here. The match was all about her. When she got that hot tag, it was like 2 minutes later, the match was over. She just cleaned up Damage Control, destroyed them. Where Jay goes from here is one of the big things I'm looking forward to watching coming out of WrestleMania, which is a big testament to her and what they're doing with her. I legitimately look forward to her stuff each week. She's like one of the main stars I look forward to seeing in WWE. So yeah, hats off everyone with the presentation for Jade. Amazing performance. That's really all this match was. It was, let's look at Jade. Bianca's here. Naomi's here. Let's look at our representation and role models here. The people of color, black people, African American people, all these minority there. Now let's watch them beat Damage Control. Cool. Next, move on.
Yes, sir. All right, let's talk Sami versus Gunther, the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah,
I think this was the highlight of the night. This was the match of the night. I don't really think it's close, honestly. Like, yeah, the tag match with Ray and Dominic, and the ladder match, they were, like I said, they were good, fun, like 3-star matches, all of them.
Yeah.
This was like a 4.5-star match. Gunther and Sami Zayn. This was a really good match. And Gunther's been on a roll. Good matches with Chad Gable. He even got a decent match out of The Miz a few months back at Survivor Series. Like, Gunther's been on fire. We already know he's an MVP for wrestling. Sami Zayn got the win. Now, I said earlier when I was doing my dialogue, do I really care about Gunther losing? Like, was it a big deal? Like, oh my God, Gunther lost, this dominant Intercontinental Champion. I do think that WWE missed an opportunity with making it feel that way, where just hyping up like, oh, this is the best Intercontinental Champion ever, big star, this is a main eventer, whoever beats him is a big deal. This felt random. Like, it just felt kind of like, okay, Sami Zayn's been in the company for a long time. He main events when we want him to. He steps in the main event. He'll do the undercard. He'll do anything we ask him to do. We're going to give him a big WrestleMania moment here. And it kind of just defeats the purpose of having Gunther walk around with the championship for 300, 400 days if they weren't going to do anything with that. From that standpoint, if like we could really build a star here. You could have like Carmelo Hayes come up. Carmelo Hayes come up, get in Gunther's face, like, bro, you suck. And then Carmelo Hayes beats Gunther and they make a star. But instead, it just felt like a random title change where they could have accomplished this. Like, they could have accomplished something like this with Gunther holding the title for 4 months, 5 months.
That's fair. My opinion on this is twofold. First, to acknowledge what these two did was great.
Yeah, it was.
This is the match of the night. You allude to it. Chat's saying it. Everyone's in agreement. This was the match of the night. This was the match where the crowd was most into it. Myself sitting here watching on my laptop, I was like, oh my God. Like how they're doing it, the way they work the match, Gunther dominating those massive thumping power bombs, the big chops. All like Gunther's offense looks so like legitimate and so like real. And you go, every time he hits those moves, it's just and I kept showing Sami Zayn's wife, and like it was all really well done. This being 15 minutes, I think to add to what you're saying, if this was 20 to 25 and they really added some more mayo onto this could have really helped with 5 more minutes. It was great as was. I think in the star ratings, it's 4 and something, whatever you want to give it. But if you want to really make this like one of the great matches in the last 5-10 years, This needed 5 to 8 more minutes. You could have taken a bit of that from the main event, but then again, the main event has political chess all over it, so probably not. But the 15-minute match we got here was excellent. This was great. I say it was twofold with what you're saying because, yeah, I agree. Gunther was champion for what? Chad will correct me here, 660 days or something, like nearly 2 years. So the thing with that, and we're going to talk about this more tomorrow night when Cody pins Roman, it's like, okay, a reign that long, the champion needs to lose the belt when their stock is either really high or when the challenger's stock is just soaring and you can really capitalize and make that new style or at least really do something with it. I don't mind Sami winning the title. It's clear that they're going to do something with Gunther and bash at Berlin, or he's going to go feud for a world title. Maybe Gunther goes to feud with McIntyre or Rollins, or I don't know. He's going to take a step up to the main event now on Raw, which is good. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. But that's just what I'm looking at now. I'm looking at going, okay, sort of where to for Sami Zayn as the IC champion, is Kevin Owens going to win the US title tomorrow night? And they just do, Zayn Owens of championships, pal. Is that what they're going to do? Or are they going to have Sami Zayn run around like, I'm so proud to be IC champion? You can't hate Sami Zayn, really. Like, they build him up as a guy you can't hate and like you can't really say negative things about. But it's not a brand new style, is what you're saying. So I get what you're saying there.
Yeah, and it was just a random match that was set up with a gauntlet match. Like on top of that, there was no real story going into it. Like, I just think that was a missed opportunity. I think they could have capitalized more on this massive reign that Gunther had. And not to take anything away from this match, it was fun. It was great. I mean, Sami Zayn is one of the best wrestlers in the world. Gunther's one of the best wrestlers in the world. You would think the two would have a great match, and that's exactly what they did.
And Ishan, we'll discuss that more in like a late take and further on. But Gunther must win Money in the Bank now. Like, you need a Money in the Bank who's actually going to be a legitimate main event player. The last 5 years has been a joke. Priest is not going to cash in, or if he does, he's going to fail. That was an L. Priest is Mr. Money in the Bank, didn't work. You need Gunther. He cashes in the title shot at Berlin, and you have the whole story where Cody has to walk into Berlin, pal, with 50,000 screaming European, German, Austrian, whatever people, and Cody's getting like booed and shouted, and he's having things thrown at him, and he loses the title, and then he has a Rocky comeback story, pal. Yeah. Cody dethrones him. Well, anyway, that's for later in the year. But this being said, let's talk about the main event, pal.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more in depth about it. Yep. So I'm watching the entrances, badass entrance from everyone involved. Like, even Seth Rollins. I mean, Seth Rollins' entrance was just his regular entrance, but it was still badass hearing everybody sing his theme song. I thought the stare down was whack, bro. Like, I gotta be honest, that's whack. Like, this is pro wrestling, This is pro wrestling. It's not boxing. It's not UFC. It's just not. Like, there's certain elements of that aspect of that world we don't need in wrestling. And I did not need to see The Rock staring at Cody awkwardly for 4.5 minutes or however long that went down for. Like I said earlier, Rock is beating up Cody, making him bleed, putting his blood across his mother's name on a belt. They're staring at each other. Are you kidding me? Like, and then I knew that we would get those spots where The Rock's like screaming at the ref saying, "You're fired, bro. If you do anything, I can do what I want."
Word. You said that word for word in the preview. You said that word. You predict that word for word. Where 15 minutes in, The Rock was like, "F off. If you call a count out or a disqualification, you're fired. F you." And then proceeded to beat up Seth Rollins. That was funny, but carry on.
Yeah, it's funny, but like, I just don't care. I don't care. I don't care that The Rock's on the board. I don't care that the ref's gonna get fired. Like, it's just overbooked, bro. It was super overbooked. I was so bored watching this match. People in the chat, I've seen people in the chat say this was match of the night. Can you please explain to me your perspective on why this was match of the night? Why you love this match so much? I was bored as hell. I don't care that The Rock's on the board. I don't care the ref's gonna get fired. I don't care that Roman speared The Rock and now we're gonna have Samoan beef tomorrow night. Like, I just don't care. Not a single part of me cared.
Wow. I will say on the stare down, it's funny that after The Rock in the rain decimated Cody Rhodes, beating him up with an inch of his life. He's bleeding. He's got this blood on his belt. He's talking trash. He's saying, "I'm going to have your mother's tears on this belt as well. F you." The Rock's swearing. He's doing 15-minute uncensored promos on Instagram, pal. And then they're in the ring, just looking at each other. This isn't Rock Hogan. This isn't Rock Cena. This isn't Austin Rock. We don't need the stare down. This is Cody and Rollins versus Reigns and Rock. This is a dream match for nobody. This is just a fine tag team match with the big talent that WWE has available. This being said, I think the highlights of this match are match of the night. But the match itself was not match of the night by any means, if that makes sense. Because the best parts of this match were really fun. They were really entertaining. But it was skewed over a 46-minute period. So I'm watching it live going, yes, parts of this is fun, especially as I mentioned, the Rock getting speared by Roman, the announce table rock bottom spot into the barricade spear spot, and one or two of the near falls where I was like, oh my God. And I jumped. That, amazing, amazing, amazing. 35 minutes of the match could have just not happened, realistically. Let's just be objectively fair here. That's what this match was. So how this ages, to talk about the legacy of this main event, how this ages, it'll probably just age as a piece to Cody's coronation tomorrow night. Oh, Cody lost the night before, pal. He had The Rock and Roman, and they cheated, and they had the low blow and the spear and all this, and they pinned him. Then he won the title. Hey, Cody! Whoa! I don't know how it ages. I guess Cody's going to win tomorrow night, and no one will talk about this going forward, really. This just be, oh, The Rock got speared by Roman, pal. A whole Samoan political chess. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I just want to feel invested. I want something to grip me, you know? I want something about this storyline, this match, anything to grip me. Like what Triple H said in that interview, where he's like, oh, The Rock called me and was like, I want to turn heel. The people hated that I came out and took Cody's spot. I'm going to be heel now. Could we have not gotten that on TV, on a SmackDown? Like, could we have not gotten Triple H come out and say, hey, bro, look, I'm going to be real. I'm going to peel the curtain back. The Rock wanted to do this match. He wanted to do this match with his cousin. He wanted to do Rock versus Roman. And we made a mistake, and we shouldn't have done it. So now we're doing this. Like, anything to just pretending like the plan was not Rock versus Roman. And this was, I don't buy it that this was the plan all along. Like, some sort of acknowledgement.
Are you hinting that them doing this the way they have, with not addressing that, saying it word for word, would you say that's insulted the fans' intelligence?
Yes.
Because you physically couldn't explain to people why this is happening at your casuals viewing party for WrestleMania. Yeah. You could not explain why this is happening. Ishan lose that in chat. This is a played in 2K match. This is a simulated tag team match that is a fun matchup on 2K. And Rollins not getting pinned, I still don't understand. I saw someone earlier in the chat say, oh, that would bury the World Heavyweight Championship division. No, instead you have Cody, the guy's going to win the title tomorrow night, get pinned. And I get it. That happened to Brett at WrestleMania 10. That was dumb then. That shouldn't have happened either. Brett shouldn't have lost 2 hours before he wins the title. So all this stuff, pal, yeah, I think they should have come out 2 weeks after Royal Rumble and said, look, Triple H goes, look, we had Cody win the Royal Rumble. Let's say this on television in his promo. Cody won the Rumble. Cody versus Roman was the plan. The Rock came in as a board member and played political chess and wanted to make Rock versus Roman the main event. I heard your feedback. I'm not allowing that. We're not doing that as the plan anymore. We're going to have Cody versus Roman, but there's going to be another tag match just so The Rock gets a match at WrestleMania and we can have some Rock segments and you guys can have fun and enjoy that. If Triple H said that, I probably would be like, cool, that makes sense. I don't know, but it's been a bit roundabout. There you go. That was the WrestleMania Night 1 main event, pal. Anything else on that?
Not really much more I want to say. This comment here, the Young Bucks will show backstage footage from All In. It'll be legit with Jack Perry and Punk. Okay. What? That's come on, bro. Is that real? Is that a joke? They're going to show footage of CM Punk punking out Jack Perry.
That'll be a segment of Matt Jackson dressed as CM Punk and Nick Jackson dressed as Jack Perry, and that they're gonna simulate it just to try and get some relevancy. That's what that's gonna be. I just read that just then. That's what they're gonna do.
What, bro? Oh my god, that's crazy. So what? They're gonna show Jack Perry being like, "My father is a rich actor. You have to listen to me, bro."
Kevin. Now let's just cut to the chase of this. Let's just be as ruthless with this as possible. there have been 5 WrestleMania night ones in
Yes.
the history of this 2-night WrestleMania.
Okay.
Was this the worst one? And I say that in the nicest way possible because 39 was night one was epic. That was great. 37 night one was quite good.
Yes.
I thought you were there. That was quite good.
It was very
38
good.
night one, that was the highlight of the show. Night 2 was all the Vince rubbish. That was bad. But night 1 I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
With the Stone Cold stuff and all that. 36, maybe.
Whatever. Yeah.
36 or 40. I'd probably maybe just say 40, but the crowds were just as good 36 versus 40. The WrestleMania 36 crowd for WrestleMania night 1 was as good as WrestleMania 40 crowd. So what do you prefer?
I would say 40 is the worst for night 1. Yeah. And in general, I feel like night 1 overall has been the better night of, like, on average of these 2-night WrestleManias. Like 37 night 1 was significantly stronger than night 2. Night 2 is a 1-match show, essentially, with the triple threat match for the title. 38 night 2 was meh. Roman versus Brock for the millionth time. Well, where was The Rock then to play political chess? I'll say it again. Where was The Rock when we needed him to save us, pal? 39, night 1. Night 2, the ending pissed so many people off that, could you put night 2 in there for 39? Yeah, no, this was bad. I do think night 2 has potential to be really good. Just looking at the card. But I don't know. So closing thoughts on this night 1. For me, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Mm-hmm. There was some good stuff, like I said, good quality stuff. There's nothing really great aside from the Sami and Gunther. Like, that was great. That's a match I'll probably watch again at some point in my life. I'm not going back to anything else in this show. Okay. I'm not going back to anything else, bro. Like, I want to watch an epic Roman entrance. I'll watch his WrestleMania 37 entrance or something like that. Like,
or his 39 one last year with the piano. This WrestleMania tomorrow night is going to be the more entertaining night. You're going to have CM Punk on commentary during Rollins and McIntyre. That's going to be awesome.
Epic.
You're going to have Cody finally getting crowned with this championship after this Bloodline Rules thing is going to be 40 minutes of just absolute overbooking and chaos. But Cody's going to win at the end, so that'll be good. Io Sky and Bayley, that's a 50-50 match. Either could win. Bayley's already had a moment at the Rumble, so does she get a second one? Or is her moment just getting a singles one-on-one match? And Io needs to get her moment. We'll see what happens there. And then the LA Knight Styles match, as you said, there's nothing really stake. Technically, there's no stipulation. There's no title. It's still going to be fun. The feud's been good. The Logan Paul, Randy Orton, Owens thing will be interesting, how that comes off. A lot of stuff with Prime and KSI are going to be involved in that. And then that Testament versus Pride match will probably be a fun match. So match by match, night 2 should be better, which could be the first time night 2 is better than night 1, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
I think night 1's been better every time. I think 36 was similar. Like, neither night was great at 36, but night 2 had the Boneyard match, I think. Whatever. This is 5 years ago, COVID, whatever. But point being, night 1, the legacy of this night, this felt like a night 2 on any other WrestleMania with 2 nights. This felt like just the night that was there. The stuff was good. If you watch this show back, you're not going to hate it. It was just a fine night of wrestling action. Did it feel like WrestleMania? Was the crowd a bit cold, pal? Or was the crowd, the weather hurt the crowd? How about you actually stand up, chant, get into it? You won't think about the weather if you're actually chanting into the show. I'm not copying that as an excuse. That's weak as piss. So there you have it. I give the show a 7. I'm a bit nicer than you, pal. I have the same rating as Art Carter, pal. So we agree. I give it a 7. You give it a 6.5. You have a scathing rating, a low rating. I give it a 7, pal.
The main event put me to sleep, bro. If the main event was 20 minutes and they just got to the point, I would have liked it a lot more. I would say I would have liked the show a lot more, but that's just me. I'm ready to get out of here, pal. I've had a long night.
Pal, final closing one. Shout out everyone who's stayed up to listen to this, especially the people in the States.
Thank you.
It's really late. Thank you very much. We appreciate it a lot. Hopefully, big night 2. We'll be here to cover it tomorrow, or at least we'll do a review of whatever. We'll figure it out. Then we'll do an elite take with some blistering questions as fallout. Let's hope the second half of WrestleMania 40 is better than the first.
Yeah, and hopefully the weather doesn't affect the crowd tomorrow night, pal. So
Oh,
yeah,
is it cold? Oh, don't we feel so bad for Philly? Like, get out. You're
yeah,
paying thousands for these seats. Do something. React.
yeah,
Chant.
yeah. I know.
Honestly.
All right, well, yeah, I'm gonna have nightmares on political chess. Yes, I will, Jay. Thank you guys for staying up. Thank you everyone that tuned in and watched this, man. We really appreciate you, and I won't be able to do a live stream tomorrow. I got to get up for work early, but we'll be back with Elite Takes. So we'll talk to you guys then.